Hey, this is PH and welcome to Good Bible Knowledge with PhD. In this set of videos, I want to provide a helpful and enjoyable way to understand common questions about the Bible. I hope you'll find these videos helpful for your own spiritual journey in Jesus. So, let's get started. Why did God bring a great flood? In the time of Noah, the effect of sin on mankind was universal and without limit. This brought great grief to the heart of God. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord, for Noah was a righteous man, and he and his family walked faithfully with God. God told Noah of his intent to cover the earth with a flood, and he instructed Noah to build an ark. For several years, Noah and his sons worked on building an ark on dry land. On the day that the ark was finished, Noah and his family and various species of animals entered into the ark, and God closed the door behind them. Then God caused it to rain heavily for 40 days and nights, covering the entire earth with water. After 150 days, God caused the flood to subside, and the ark rested on Mount Ararat. Noah and his family and all the animals departed from the ark, and Noah built an altar to worship God, thanking God for his salvation from the flood. At that time, God made a covenant with Noah. A covenant is a promise or a binding contract between God and man. In this covenant, God promised that he would never again judge the world in this manner. And as a sign of God's faithfulness, God created a rainbow. So why did God flood the entire earth? The flood was a historical event that illustrated the ultimate consequences of sin, judgment. God is a righteous God, and his judgment is the just punishment for rejecting God and breaking his moral code. Through the record of the flood in Genesis, God is communicating to generations to follow that sin will ultimately be judged by God, and God's judgment has no favoritism, no exceptions, and it is final. The good news is that God is also communicating that he is merciful. As the ark was being built, it was not only an unmistakable forewarning that judgment was coming, it was also a sign that God was providing a way of salvation available to anyone who was willing to enter into it. Tragically, at that time, the only ones who heeded God's warning and accepted God's gracious gift was Noah and his family. The rest of mankind made the conscious choice to reject God's offer of salvation. When the flood finally came, the door of the ark was closed, and the opportunity for salvation was over. The flood continues to remind us that even now, God is very patient, and God is also just and will not allow sin to go on forever without punishment. The ark reminds us that God is merciful, and through Jesus continues to offer a way of salvation for everyone who would enter into it by faith. Thanks for listening to another episode of Good Bible Knowledge. We'll see you next time.